No, so something I kind of wanted to bring up.
Okay.
It's something that has been brought up on my show, and I'd love to discuss it at some point, which is right now. And not just the streamer culture, but what has happened over on the TikToks and the Instagram Reels and the YouTube Shorts and everything is the meta culture, right? Where there was a time, thinking like original COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, right? Where air quotes meta was the noob tube, as everyone recalls.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you used it, you got made fun of
Yes.
horribly. It was
Roasted.
the quickest way to get kills, most damage, right? But if you used it, everyone ripped you to shreds, right?
Remember those days?
And we've gotten to a point. I definitely noticed it big time. 2020 when the old virus struck. That the things took a turn in the gaming world, where it became. I'm not going to mess with guns and figure out what feels right or what class build feels perfect. To me, it's all about an update happens. You just go into YouTube or TikTok. You type in, all right, what's the fucking best thing to use? And you go, all right, cool, we're set with that, and I'm gonna jump in. There's no testing yourself. There's people that's their entire livelihood is just making meta videos. Like there's no more of picking and choosing and playing and having your own choices. It happens in WoW where there's skill trees that you're supposed to make yourself feel good. Everyone just goes to Icy Veins and whatever it tells you to choose, you choose. You go into Destiny, whatever the God roll is, you just hunt for that. And if there's something else you like that feels good, people go, well, that's not the God roll, and you move on. Warzone, same thing. There's the one gun with the one thing that everyone's supposed to use. And it gets exhausting to kill someone, run up, and they're using the same gun you are with the exact same loadout of everything. And there's no spice to life to anything. And it's like, why? Why is this the place where we're at now?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I remember those days too. Do you want to go first, Runga?
No, go ahead.
I remember playing Call of Duties in the early 2000s, and I remember we used whatever the hell we wanted to use. For me, it was the M16, man. I love pulse rifles. Even back then, I loved pulse rifles. And there was really no meta talk other than noob tubes. And like you said, if people saw you using a noob tube, you would just lose all respect. People would lose all respect for you because you were crutching basically on the noob tube, where you were just launching it. You're reloading and just relaunching it because you had unlimited ones. And you just relaunch it into foxholes and stuff. And it's kind of a cheesy way to play the game. And I remember that, man. Everyone was razzing the noob tubers. I had my favorite rifles, and I just got better at using the rifle that I really enjoyed. I mean, remember in Call of Duty, it was all about unlocking all the attachments and then unlocking all the perks like, silent steps. And, as you ranked up in your multiplayer level, once you got to level 40, you were able to unlock, this great perk that really works good in the game, but it had nothing to do with the gun. It had more to do with the style of play or some benefits you got on the map. So that's what made us grind, man. And of course, as we played more with that gun, we unlocked more attachments for it. And in fact, that's the way Call of Duty, I noticed even in Black Ops 6, that's the way it still works today. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, but you still go to the gunsmith and you unlock and start adding sights and grips and muzzle and stocks. And man, that brings me back to my Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 days. My goal when I played the Battlefield games was I would work on one gun at a time, unlock everything available for it, and then move on to the next gun. I'd work on assault rifles first, then I'd work on sniper rifles, then I'd work on, I don't know, whatever rifles were left. I mean, scout rifles. God, there's some good scout rifles in Battlefield 2. And I really never went to YouTube. I never really cared what the meta was. I just used what I thought was working good, what felt good in the game. And I totally get what you're talking about, man. There's one thing I hate seeing in the Crucible these days when I'm playing in comp, or when I'm playing even Iron Banner last night, is the sliding shotgunners, man. Everyone wants to slide in shotgun. It's just what everybody does. I buck that. I will never use a shotgun in Crucible. You'll never see one on. I've used a chaperone a couple times. Shout out to Briggs.
Yeah.
But I use a sidearm because I'd rather jump backwards and shoot them before they could get close enough to me. And I've really honed that. And I've got several sidearms that I love using, but it's not the meta. It's not the meta. The meta, if you're really playing to win, you should have a shotgun. and I go against it, and it's probably to my detriment. But I had a younger friend and a clanmate long ago when Warcry and I had a gaming clan, and he just started using Twitch. It was right when it was brand new, back in the early 2000s, and he was streaming one night while we were on the yacht. Remember the yacht map on Call of
Oh
Duty?
yeah,
When
yeah,
you
yeah,
jump
yeah.
the lower levels of the yacht and upper
That was
levels.
a great
I
map.
love that map. Still remember
Yeah.
those maps. They were so well designed. But because he was streaming, his attitude, instead of having fun, hey 30, what's up? Instead of having fun, playing the game, his attitude was totally sweat. His attitude changed to, I have to be good because now people are watching me play. So
Yeah.
now I got to switch. And he didn't kid around with us anymore. He ended up going to a pro team, by the way. Scuba Steve was his name. I don't know if he'll ever hear this podcast.
Wow.
He was a younger guy. In fact, I was helping him with some business books when he was going to college, some books I'd read and stuff. And God, I remember those days, man, where as soon as that Twitch stream was live, and back then it was glitchy and you couldn't hear half the audio half the
absolutely.
time. It was brand new. But because he turned Twitch on, all of a sudden the fun was sucked out of the room. It was all about, we got to win. We got to win now. And then he would start getting down people's throats because we weren't playing. We weren't playing as a team. We weren't doing this or that. It's just like the pressure it was a pressure cooker, man. Everything just started building up. And, now it just seems like this meta gaming scenario, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was brought on from streaming, because streamers have to win. They have to be good or no one's going to tune into them. No one gives a crap about an average player. They want to watch the God Killer. They want to go out there and watch the guy who's going to get a 4-kill streak in Destiny 2 in the Crucible and keep moving on. And, at the scoreboard, I mean, I can feel the pressure when True Vanguard plays live. He gets below a 1-5 and he feels like ashamed. I'm like, dude, that was a really tough game. But 30 Still Gaming's in the chat. He says he knew a Scuba Steve too. He wonders if it's the same one. There's a lot of Scuba Steves. Thanks to the movie. But now, the developers can easily update their sandbox, because we're online and we're all part of live service now. It's all about what's hot and putting down what's not. Like I tried the syncopation, a couple nights ago in Iron Banner. And I tried to use it because it's an adaptive pulse rifle. It's a 390. It fires slower, but it's super accurate. I wasn't getting the kills. People were knocking me out with freaking Kvostovs. So I switched to my blast furnace, the aggressive burst, and my peace of mind, which is my rapid fire. And the game just picked right back up again. So it would be nice if the gaming developers out there stopped worrying about making one game or one gun in the game the favorite gun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It'd be nice if granted, the sandbox team for Destiny has been really good. It has been probably the most balanced. You can use just about any variety of weapon out there, but there's still the ones that you have to use and the ones you just can't use right now. Sniping. I mean, my God, they made the sniping so bad. They made flinch so bad in sniping now, and the fact that you can't one hit kill most people anymore. I put my sniper rifle away. I had so many fun games sniping and getting those one-shot headshots, sniping. And I'm sure there's some rifles like the aggressive and heavy burst or heavy snipers that can still do it, but they're so large and unwieldy, it just isn't fun to play with. But it's just like the first thing I do when I jump into Call of Duty now. I'm like, what's working the best? What's working the best?
That's every time I come back, to Warzone it's just a quick Google search. What's the meta this season? Okay. I guess that's just all I'm using. Well, it's like even in just Destiny 2's lifespan, not Destiny the whole, just Destiny 2's lifespan. I remember recording back when my podcast was about Destiny. We talked about slide shotgunning and how it was hilarious and you'd make fun of people who did it.
Yeah.
And now within the same lifetime of the game, it's the thing you have to do. And if you're not doing it, you're a crutch for your team, right? Or you're actually broken for your team, right? In Warzone, I distinctly remember the moment Warzone launched, right? Like right when everyone went to shutdown. If you're going to launch a game, that's when you launch it, right? But I think it was like the second patch cycle, the Grow,
Mm-hmm.
which had awesome iron sights. That became like the meta.
Right.
But that was still a time where if you ran into someone using it, you're like, this fucking guy. Like he's just using the Grow, right? And that was not that long ago. That was 3 years ago,
I remember
right?
hearing that word in
Yeah.
YouTube.
You'd find it and you go, God, another guy using this fucking gun, right? And you made fun of people for using the Grow. 2 patches later, everyone was on board with whatever the meta is. That's all we're using. That's all we're playing. That's it. And no one made fun of each other for it anymore. Like it's in just the span of 3 years. It went from like, oh God, a meta guy to just, this is all we do. It's just fascinating to me how that's everyone just wants to be, everyone's looking up in COD, like what are the glitchy movements you can do? What's the meta for guns? What's the glitchy thing you can do? How can you get through this side of the map? Like everyone plays every match like it's a professional game now.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's come from streamers. TikTok. I think TikTok is probably one of the worst.
Really?
It started on streaming like Twitch and Facebook and YouTube and stuff, but I think the immediacy of like just having a cool clip or something on TikTok really progressed that to such a level where there's people that don't even watch streamers. They just get their content through a search on TikTok now. And like, what's the meta? Boom. Here's a 5-second video. Here's what you need. Here's the attachments. Or like, here's what you need for your setup for your Titan. Here's what you need for your Paladin and WoW. Here's like, and it's just boom, immediate, and you're gone. And that's all people make is just meta videos. And it's just like they're making money and their livelihood is just off that. And 3 years ago, that wasn't a thing.
Right.
It's fascinating to me.
I miss those days of just exploring. Just exploring weapons felt good. You know, I didn't care about how, I mean, they had to perform, but if you got good using it, the AN-92 in Battlefield 4, it was just a pat-up, 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 pat-up. It's a Russian rifle that shoots a bullet behind each other. It's a 2-shot. That's why I love the heavy burst now that they've come out with in Destiny. But I remember it was just so many good headshots with that thing. And it wasn't the most powerful rifle in the game. It just is one I really got really good at using. Sorry, Gator. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. I mean, you're talking about the meta. One game that has come out recently, Helldivers 2, you can use whatever you want to in that game. I know Fudd will agree with me on this because they talked about it on one of his podcasts. And now with what they've done, I mean, I remember when Helldivers first came out, I would start getting TikToks of, hey, this is what you need to run. And then I'd be running with Fudd and I'd be like, what's, and he's like, no, you can use whatever you want to. I'm taking this. You take, you can say, since you're taking this, let me take this. And it all works interconnect together. You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to run the backpack. Everybody doesn't have to run the laser bot. Everybody doesn't have to run this mortar strike,
Right.
I can run what I want to and they can run what they want to, and we'll see how it works together. If it don't, well, next game we'll switch it up and try something else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, that game, that's one thing I do like about Helldivers 2 is I can jump in, even though I haven't played in a while. I can probably jump in, use some of the older stuff since I don't have the new stuff, and still be able to kill stuff, compete, and be helpful, and not just be like, oh, go sit in this corner, we'll get you,
Yeah, and that's what makes especially that game such a special thing, especially in line with what my thing has been is like when the game launched, there was an air quotes meta, right? And that got patched out immediately.
Exactly.
And people who only made meta content couldn't make content for that game. And so obviously the numbers for that game plummeted. I mean, a lot of other things happened, but there was no just clickbaity meta videos. So that didn't work out. It's just like people killing each other and laughing is all the content for that game, which is what we used to just watch for any game, which has been very refreshing. But yeah, it's interesting to have a game come out where people can't just make meta content and then they all leave. They're all gone to whatever the next thing they can make their clickbaity thing about.
Yes.
It's like just fire up Twitch and go look at your list and look at what everybody's playing.
It's that easy. Everyone uses the same
boom.
stuff.
Yeah. And all these people who are like, I wonder if I want this game. Well, go on Twitch. Everybody's playing it. I'm gonna run out and buy it. And then they're like, well, this game sucks, even though this guy liked it. It's like, well, you kind of fell for it. Instead of doing the research, you just ran out and buy it.
Yeah, and the sandbox team, they are so powerful now. Whatever sandbox teams for PvP games out there, they have so much power in directing what people are gonna use the next season or whatever the next reset is, you know.
Yeah.
But in fact, Zombie Pops in the chat said it's the pressure that, you know, they pay their bills streaming, that they have no choice. They can't try other weapons. They have to go with whatever the meta is because they have to compete at the highest levels. I don't know, man. I miss the days of Battlefield where I just went through the list of guns and just used everything. And then and after I got all of them done, and by the way, that was an extensive list. That was a lot of
Very
hours.
much so.
A lot of hours. I mean, you had to unlock the FLIR scope on these guns. You had to get like 1,000 headshots with it. It took a while. And that's per weapon, guys. That's how deep the progression was for Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. And I really miss those days. But
I do too.
The one thing that Battlefield will never have on Destiny is that gun feel. It's so much crisper and so much better. And I get it. It's an arena shooter versus a full open world shooter. Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna trigger everybody tonight. That's my goal. I want everyone to go off. But
I'm sorry. Did he say something? I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
He started talking about Destiny again.
Yeah.
sorry, I only play Destiny. Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing. teasing.
No, my favorite Battlefield game is Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3.
Fucking
Bad Company 2.
I missed the boat on that.
I swear, if they would remake that in today's game, I loved Bad Company 2.
Incredible.
I had so much fun with friends on the 360 playing that.
And that was one of those you could play. You could use any gun, and it'd work. You know,
gun.
They added World War II guns, and you're like, I'm still effective using this. You know, but is there a way? Is there a world? Right? Because this is still a new thing. 3 years ago, this switch happened in the gaming sphere where, and I'm someone who streams. It's not my livelihood at all. I just do it for fun, right? But I'm aware that the high-end streaming culture has really done some weird shit to the gaming community, right? As a whole. Is there a place where we get away from that, where we can just like, let's just play and figure things out and have fun and people can use things? Or is this just because this switch has happened where everyone wants to just, it's very accessible to get into. Everyone's just making clips for TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. Like they're not even making full videos. It's just for the quick click, click on, click off. Is that just where we are forever now? Or is there a way to get back to where we just enjoy things and have fun?
But yeah, you have that, but now you also, the game makers see that, so they give these early copies to those streamers that have those high viewers because they know their communities that are diehard watchers are going to watch, and it's going to help sell that game or whatever change they make.
Sell them. Streamers sell them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they know that. I don't think it's going to change. I really don't. That's why I said, like, you can fire up Twitch now, and everybody was, when the Wukong game came out, my whole list was that. When Space Marines came out, that's what my whole list was. Yeah. So.
And that's the thing, is every once in a while a game will come out that's just fun, right? And you'll see everyone just playing that and having fun. And that is refreshing, right? But the rest of the time, like we were saying, it's just meta this and rock and roll and that. But yeah, it is nice every once in a while. It's just fun. That does still happen, which is awesome.
I remember,
but it's just interesting.
I remember when I jumped into Battlefield 2042 when I had a podcast about it. Lord, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
How many episodes did you have? What, like 3?
I'm glad you ended it the week before I was going to be on it, you piece of
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I was lining up guests. I was so pumped. That Battlefield 2042 was back, it was, and then I jumped in there and it's like, okay, this one gun, everyone just uses this one gun because it's broken. Basically, it's broken. It just kills everybody in 3 shots. So I was to the point where I couldn't do what I used to do in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. I can't go just use anything and have a fighting chance in PvP. But like you said, man, streamers, they sell the games and the developers know this. And and I'll even tell people who want to get better in PvP, go watch streamers because they're all going to play at the highest level. I learned so much from watching streamers play Crucible because I would learn where how they would move around the maps. I would learn where their sight lines are. I would learn how long they would stay and aiming down the sights. You can learn so much from watching a high level player on Twitch or YouTube, and I learned so much from watching that. So I mean, that's a good thing about it, is if you want to learn how to get better at the game, watching streamers definitely does help.
Oh
But
yeah.
the downside is the game becomes so one dimensional because everyone just uses slide shotguns. Slide shotguns, to me, that's the noob tube for me. When I see people slide shotgun, when I try to blink over them and they just wait there and just go boop, I'm like, noob tube. Guy, obviously, you know, you got a big circle on the screen. All you got to do is just move it and line it up with a body, and it's an instant kill. Okay, I'm not gonna. No, I told myself I wasn't gonna go down. I wasn't gonna be salty gator tonight. But it's just
salty. That's what Roundtable's for, baby.
It's just so freaking easy to use a shotgun. I mean, it is. Try using a sidearm when you have to get the headshots when that guy's running at you with a Titan slam. Just saying.
Especially when you got to complete them sidearm bounties.
Yeah. In a raid, yeah.
Yeah.